Yo, what's up guys? We are back for the final game of this tournament. I'm actually playing against Steve, which is a guildmate. And he's actually a really good player because he also won the previous tournament. And he definitely knows what he's doing. So just sit down for some quality gameplay. Well, let's take a look at his team first before we start. He has a Tyranitar, Garchomp, Gengar, Breloom, Suicune, and a Scizor. I'm actually kind of scared for this Suicune because it can set up, but if it's a rest calm mindset, then my Milotic can pretty much deal with it because it has haste. But if it's a toxic substitute protect set, which is my favorite Suicune set, then it could be problematic for me. Because then he can stall out my Milotic. So I probably want to get my toxic spikes off with Fortress, and since I haven't used it in the whole tournament, no one knows that I have toxic spikes on Fortress, so that can work in my favor. So that's probably the only way I can get this Suicune poisoned, because I already poisoned a Slowbro and a Milotic in the two previous games, and Steve will probably not fall for that same stuff too. So I should not expect Hippowdon being able to hit the Suicune with poison. And yeah, his Breloom is also a big threat to my team, because it's most likely a Spore set with a Rock Tomb, Bullet Punch, and Mach Punch. So I always have to predict what he will use, because if I bring in my Crobat and he uses Rock Tomb, then my Crobat just dies. If I bring in my my Milotic, he can just Bullet Punch, and he can Bullet Punch the Hippowdon too, and he can kind of Mach Punch the Fortress maybe and the Magnezone. So it's definitely a threat to switch into. But yeah, if it's a Sword Stance set, that means he won't have Bullet Punch or Rock Tomb, which makes it easy for my Milotic to check it or for my Crobat to check it. But yeah, for my lead, I will probably lead with Crobat, because if I lead Fortress and he leads Breloom, then he gets a free Spore off, and I do not want that. If he leads Tyranitar, I can U-turn out. If he leads Gengar, I can also U-turn out. If he leads Chomp, I can U-turn out. I can pretty much U-turn on any one of his team mates. So that's going to be my lead.
Pressure. I'm gonna cut this out, but I'm gonna put this on YouTube, so stop talking about that. Oh, I see it now. Let's go. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. What the fuck? The emeralds are top.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh,
So let's see.
They were actually gonna troll.
So we see Crobat in the T-target.
In chat here, but whatever. Let's focus on the game. He does lead up with Tyranitar, so I just go for U-turn. I was expecting the Stealth Rocks here, but he actually went for Pursuit. But yeah, because I'm a full max HP Crobat set, that Pursuit won't do too much to me. And now he doesn't have rocks on the field, which really helps me a lot. So he goes for Pursuit, and now I can bring in my Fortress, because I want the toxic spikes off, even though he has Gengar, because Gengar doesn't like to switch in to any of my Pokemon's attack. Yeah, he doesn't have rocks up, so I do not understand why he brings in Gengar now. It's not like I predicted him to bring in the Gengar, because I might as well could have gone for Gyro Ball here, and then Gengar would have been in a big trouble there. Yeah, I do get the toxic spikes off, because the toxic spikes came in after Gengar came in the field, so he doesn't remove the toxic spikes. So he has to switch out Gengar and bring it in back in again to remove the toxic spikes. So I do get the Gyro Ball off, but The cursed body stops my gyro ball now, so I cannot use it again. Here I should have probably just went for stealth rocks. But I switch out into my Hippowdon knowing that I can live any attack from Gengar as he goes for Shadow Ball. Here I decided to go for Roost. I could have actually went for Earthquake here, but I was expecting the Suicune here. Because Suicune is the only thing that can live an Earthquake, can take an Earthquake. The others can live it, but they don't appreciate an Earthquake. But yeah, now the poison gets off, and that's exactly what I wanted. Because now I can just bring in my own Milotic here. I can bring in my own Milotic, maybe expecting a Scald or something. Because if he burns my Milotic, then Milotic can easily check the guard jump. But yeah, I have to keep my Milotic healthy though.
Yeah, that's not worth. That would not be worth at all.
He can go Magnezone. I think Magnezone's a very good middle ground play.
Wait, I actually go for Fortress here, because I know I can live a Scald and then I can get on my Stealth Rocks. But I think he actually goes for Gengar, predicting me to switch.
Let's see it.
The T-Spikes do disappear as the Magnezone comes
He also
down.
removed my... Oh, I went for Magnezone. Oh yeah. I'm sorry guys. The reason I went for Magnezone there is to pretty much force out the Suicune, because I wasn't sure if he would have gone for Calm Mind there or went for Sub. At least my Magnezone would have been able to force it out. Because he cannot bring in his Gengar. Because Gengar would die if I had Magnezone in and he had his Suicune in, and if he switched into his Gengar there, then Gengar would have died. And if he went into Guard Jump would have been poisoned. So that was a win-win situation for me. But he actually makes a prediction, predicting me to go into Magnezone, goes into Gengar. I do not want to stay in there, so I just go into Hippowdon. He does get rid of my Toxic Spikes. But yeah, I did get the Suicune poisoned, and that's what I wanted. Yeah, Hippowdon can pretty much take any hit from Gengar, and Gengar will die to the Life Orb. Still does a decent amount of damage, about 45%, 40 to 45. But yeah, after leftovers, it isn't that bad for me. So now Breloom comes in, and here I have to choose a Sleep Fodder.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I decided to probably let my Fortress be asleep, because I don't see Fortress doing more than my other teammates, because Medicham can still check the Breloom, can still check the Tyranitar, Suicune and Scizor. Hippowdon can also check the Tyranitar and the Garchomp. And my Crobat checks the Breloom too. And Magnezone obviously checks Suicune and Suicune, Tyranitar and Scizor. And Fortress doesn't do anything besides setting up rocks. So I did put my let my Fortress be asleep, and then I brought in my Medicham. But he actually switches out and goes into Garchomp. Earthquake from a Life Orb Garchomp will kill my Medicham, so I do not want to stay in there. So I switch out into my Milotic. Let's see. Sword Dance comes out, but this is actually a roll. If he gets the highest roll, then he will kill me. But the roll is in my favor, so I'll just go for Ice Beam. But I think he kind of had to make this play, because he was behind. Because if he killed me there, then then I would have been in big trouble there.
I'm actually gonna send the
I could have still won there with the combination of Hippowdon and Crobat, but it would have been difficult. But yeah, I do take it out, and here I decided to let my Milotic die. Because I do not want to make any predictions against this Breloom. Like maybe he predicts me to go into Crobat and go for Rock Tomb, and that would have been bad for me. So this way I don't have to make any prediction and can bring my bring in my Crobat safely.
Putting it on the line.
Because Steve didn't put up rocks, so my Crobat can still pressure his team a lot. So my Milotic goes down, I get my Crobat in for free, and now I just U-turn. Getting any form of damage off on this Breloom is nice because he has Life Orb, so he will die eventually. But yeah, he will most likely bring in his Tyranitar, because he still needs his Breloom to win. He still needs his Breloom to win. That's the only thing that could actually kill Milotic. So he does bring in his Tyranitar. I do get the U-turn off, and now I can bring in my Medicham. Because nothing switches in on the Medicham. Because if he brings in Suicune, I'll just high jump kick after. And if he brings in Scissor, if it's a physical defensive Scissor, maybe he can live through Drain Punches, but then I would high jump kick after. And if it's not a physical defensive set, then Drain Punch kills again. So I just go for Drain Punch here. I do not have to risk the high jump kick miss. And Breloom will pretty much die to Drain Punch.
Stop getting bullied. There. Well, I wonder what a fighting PokeOne does to a Dark Rock type. That's what I want to know. Like.
So Drain Punch comes out. He also has the Triple Berry, but yeah, Triple Berry isn't enough. I'm pretty sure that even if I high jump kick and he has Triple Berry when he's full, he still dies because it's stabbed.
See, this is the time for you to step the fuck up.
But yeah, now he should probably bring in his Suicune. Oh yeah, he does go Scissor.
Burger King Wi-Fi AFC.
I could go for high jump kick here, maybe that was the play, but I decided to go into Magnezone as he makes a nice prediction, very nice play, because he U-turns and can go into Breloom, and this kind of pressures me. Because I basically have to sack something now for the safest play. I do not want to make a Mark Punch prediction and go into Crobat. That's definitely not the play. And I do not want to sack my Fortress now, because like if I sack Fortress here, then I have to bring in my my Crobat or Medicham. Medicham could maybe miss the Zen Headbutt, or he switches into Suicune and Suicune can maybe live. Can maybe live the second Zen Headbutt, or he switches into his Scissor to resist the Zen Headbutt. Then I could be in trouble again, because maybe he can kill my Breloom after Life Orb and Sandstorm damage with Bullet Punch and a crit. So I decide to sack my Hippowdon here actually. Because Hippowdon does not beat Breloom because he's a grass type. And my Milotic can wall this. Oh, Milotic is actually dead. But again, I have Magnezone. So Magnezone still checks this and checks the Scissor. So I can just safely sack my Hippowdon there. He also loses Life Orb damage and Sandstorm damage. Now I can just stay in. I do not have to make the play to go into my Crobat there. Because maybe he predicts me to go into Crobat at that point.
You can't ever risk Crobat though.
At least he's not gonna mobile, right? Thank you. That's true, I'll take it.
So now I can bring in my Crobat. Again, I'll just U-turn. Guys, his Suicune is pretty much at full health. If I Brave Bird there, then Suicune can actually pressure me. That's why I went for U-turn. Because if he stays in, he will probably die to the next Life Orb hit. So I can U-turn, and if he stays in, I go into Medicham. But if he switches into Suicune or Scissor, I can just bring in my my Magnezone and press T-Bolt. As he does go into his Suicune. So now Magnezone comes out.
Oh, I mean, he doesn't have a Thunderbolt switch in, so yeah, I actually think this is GG. The combination of Crobat plus Magnezone just wins the game, and he has 2 sacks in the Medicham and the Fortress.
T-Bolt comes out and Suicune will definitely die. And then he will probably bring in his Breloom again, and that's why I didn't sack my Fortress yet. Because now he cannot press Spore. He cannot press Spore. So I could actually switch into my Fortress and sack it. But another play I could have actually made there was to hard switch into the Medicham. Because my Medicham resists Mach Punch.
Thank you, Sleep.
My Medicham resists Mach Punch, and if we went for Rock Tomb, I could have just pressed Drain Punch.
We got Temtem action right after this, dude. Still a lot of stream to go, dude.
And if he killed me with Breloom, then I could have brought in my Crobat again, press U-turn. And if he switched into Scissor, I could have brought in my Magnezone. And then let my Magnezone die and bring in my Crobat, but I decided to sack Fortress. But yeah, he makes the switch into Scissor, and that was actually a nice play, because now he can set up a Sword Stance. I do not want to stay in, because letting him get to +6 is not a good idea. So I decided to actually switch straight into the Medicham there, because if he actually predicts me to go into a Magnezone there and goes for U-turn, then I will be in a rough situation again. So now I just press High Jump Kick. If he Bullet Punches, he kills me, but then he will only be at +2. Then Magnezone kills.
There's no Megas in the game yet, Hassan, but they could be adding them in the future.
And if he SD it again, then High Jump Kick would have probably killed him. So now the game is pretty much over, because I can just press Hidden Power Fire and then stay in with Magnezone and then kill him with Breloom. And at the end, wait guys, I'm gonna put them a bit louder.
But then it just gets revenge killed by Crobat, so I'm gonna call GG's in favor of it.
I'm just gonna let Crasher talk for now, guys. This shit is hell funny. Magnezone goes down. I bring in Crobat and just watch the chat.
Shit, dude.
And listen. Watch chat and listen.
Battle of the century right here. AKA.
Yeah. No.
Braylon's about to die.
I looked up.
He logged off. He said he logged off, and Dino logged off, dude.
Wait, are you fucking kidding me?
No. Mach Punch comes out crit. It was a crit.
Oh my god, what is he clicking?
Oh, Brave Bird.
Oh shit, don't do it. Oh, he's kidding. He's fucking pacing. Are you serious?
Baited.
You're a fucking piece of shit, bro. I'm done.
Baited.
Oh my god.
There's a fat load of poop in Crasher's pants right now because of you, Dino.
Man.
Yeah,
Man,
GG, man.
Man, really?
It was a really good game.
You're gonna scam me like that?
This man soiled himself right now.
Oh, come on,
Very
man.
close game,
Let's give
actually.
this man his money. So guys, the
Yeah,
next
we did-
P1 tournament
We
is
did bring it
set.
home to our guild, guys. It didn't matter, because I wouldn't have felt bad if Steve won too, guys. It's still
Jesus.
Still our
I'm
guild
sorry, I love you.
won the tournament
You
anyway.
won that one and pulled another winner for GCS. I mean, it was
So
a,
I don't
it's a
really care.
guild,
If I would have lost
1v1
there.
in final, so regardless, I was gonna be happy.
Okay, guys. So now what we got going on after this is we're going
So,
to switch over and
thanks,
test out a game
guys.
called Temtem.
Thanks guys for watching. Make sure to check out my other videos. Also follow me on Twitch. And if you want to join these kind of tournaments, definitely check out Raven's channel. The link is down into the description. But for now, peace out.